We just had someone join. Hello.
Mm. Sweet. So we'll go ahead and get started. Hopefully everyone can see my screen. Welcome to our virtual college exploration week for are sponsored by our Indiana Association of College Admissions Counseling, as well as StriveScan. Tonight you are joining our Mount St. Joseph University presentation. So we are so glad you are here. But before we get started on the presentation, I have a few things and then I will sneak away. First, if you have any questions, we invite you to add those to the chat, the Q&A button that you see on your screen. That is the main way for you to interact with our presenters. Because in case you can't tell, your microphone as well as your cameras are all turned off. So the best way to interact and ask questions is through that chat. So please submit any questions you have there. If you love this session and you want to learn about some other institutions, we do have one more day of presentations available. We encourage you to go on to this website here, inacac.org/virtual-college-exploration, the big word there. Once you sign up for presentations there, you can join them again, just like you joined this one. But say there are presentations that you missed, or you want to share the Mount St. Joseph presentation with another one of your friends, don't worry, this is being recorded and will be available to you soon. So that's all my announcements. I will pass it on to your presenters.
Awesome, thank you so much. So I'm going to go ahead and get my screen pulled up here. But while I do that, I'll just quickly introduce myself. So my name's Kristen Coughlin. I'm an admission counselor here at Mount St. Joseph University. And I actually work with all students from the state of Indiana. So if you're watching this, I'm your admission counselor. And I'll let Amanda go ahead and introduce herself too.
Hi, so I'm Amanda. I'm a senior at Mount St. Joseph University. I'm majoring in communication and new media studies, as well as minoring in business. I'm actually in the 4+1 MBA program at the Mount. So yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Awesome, thanks so much. So like it was already said, please feel free to ask questions throughout the presentation. We would love to be able to answer specific questions that you have as we go through our little presentation that we have set up. And of course, we'll have some time for questions at the end as well. So I'm going to go ahead and just get started and keep my eyes peeled for your questions as we go. So if you're not familiar with Mount St. Joseph University, we are a small Catholic liberal arts university located in Cincinnati, Ohio, which is about 2 hours from Indianapolis, just to give you a touch point. And when I say small, I mean that we have about 1,500 undergrad students and about 500 graduate students. So the very definition of small. We do offer over 40 undergraduate majors. So like I said, we're a liberal arts university, which really means that we have a wide variety of majors for students to choose from. And as you heard Amanda say, she is studying communications and is also in our 4+1 program. So Amanda, do you want to talk a little bit more about what your major is like and what the 4+1 program is?
Yeah, so I just started the 4+1 MBA. So that is, so you'll start taking just some of the basic classes your senior year. So you'll kind of get like a start of that, and that's fit into your schedule as an undergrad student. And then you go one additional year after graduating with your undergrad to finish off the master program. So instead of going 6 years for a master's, you're going 5 years. And then my undergrad communication and new media studies, that's just something that I was very interested in. It's a lot about learning how to communicate, not just orally, but also visually, and looking at, signs and symbols and knowing how to communicate that in our everyday world. A lot of marketing is involved. So we do a lot of stuff with like marketing students, as well as you can get jobs in the marketing department. If you're really interested in like podcast or, being on the news or something like that, that's also another career that you can take in that position.
Yeah, that's awesome. And just to clarify, the 4+1 MBA is a master's in business administration, if you're not familiar with the term MBA. But that is a graduate program of one-year grad program that's available to students of a variety of majors. So as Amanda just explained, although her major can be applied to marketing, it's not actually in the School of Business, and she's still able to do that 4+1. But some of our more popular majors, our top 5 majors, would be sports management, which is also in the School of Business, nursing, biology, health and wellness, and also early childhood education with special education. So those are our top 5, but like I said, we have over 40 undergrad majors to choose from. So we just might have what you're looking for. We do like to keep our class sizes really small as well. So one of the advantages of being a small university is that our average class size is only about 15 to 17 students. So if you're someone that really likes to be hands-on with your work, you enjoy discussion-based classes, you like getting to know your professors or your peers, those are some things that we really excel at the Mount. Especially once you start taking some courses in the major of your choice, you might even have the same professor more than once, and your advisor will be in your major and someone that you learn from as well. So you really get a chance to build those relationships and experience that more personalized one-on-one sort of atmosphere at the Mount. With regards to academics, we do try to support our students in a variety of ways, so outside of the classroom as well as within the classroom. As I mentioned, we're a liberal arts university, and not only does that mean we have a wide variety of majors, but it also means that we think it's really important for students to have a well-rounded foundation when they're launching into their career. So with that, we do have a core curriculum that all of our students complete, regardless of your major. It's the same set of classes, more or less. So as a nursing major, we still want you to take an English class. And as a communications major, we still want you to take a math or a science, so that we know that you're using all of your critical thinking skills, even beyond the degree that you're pursuing. For students that are looking for an additional challenge or a push in their academic career, the honors program is a great way to do that, just to give yourself some additional space to grow and learn outside of your degree. And then we did also just start a new program, which I consider kind of like an honors program this year, that's available for our incoming class, and it's called the Center for IT Engagement. So the Center for IT Engagement is a program funded by the state of Ohio, and it allows our students to double major with computer science as well as a major of their choice. And we have students participating this year across a whole variety of majors, so there's really no restriction on what you can pair with that. But the coolest part about the Center for IT Engagement is just the edge that it gives you in having a dual degree, one of those being computer science. As our world just becomes more and more reliant on technology, when you enter the workforce, that's something you can definitely leverage to say, you know what, I majored in business management, so I have these skills and know that I can successfully manage this office. But also, I have this computer science background and know that I'm able to troubleshoot and take care of things in that department as well. So if you're someone, again, that's willing to really commit to a challenge, because it is a commitment to do a double major and have an interest in computer science, that could be a really cool opportunity for you to explore and grow multiple interests at the same time. And then one of the other benefits of being a liberal arts university is that students have a little bit more flexibility when it comes to choosing a major. So it's kind of crazy that we look at 16, 17, 18-year-olds and say, all right, so what do you want to do for the rest of your life? And we put a lot of pressure on you guys. But the good news is that you don't have to have that figured out right when you start college, or there's a chance that you'll think you have it figured out. You'll start studying and you'll change your mind. So with that being said, we do have a program specifically for students who right off the bat know that they're unsure about a major altogether, or are maybe on the fence with a couple of things. And that's our academic exploration program. So students participating in the academic exploration program will begin their freshman year focusing mostly on those core classes. So no matter what major you choose, you're going to have to take those. So might as well just work on those first. And then you'll also take a class within the academic exploration program that's solely focused on helping you find your direction. So in that course, you'll meet professionals from a variety of backgrounds and hear about what they do. You'll take all kinds of personal inventory assessments to get a better feel for what your strengths and weaknesses are and how those can be applied to potential careers. And you'll also have individual advising throughout that course so that you can take all that knowledge you're learning in the class and actually apply it to yourself directly with the guidance of someone who's there to help you. So that's a good option for students who are still figuring it out. And then as far as academic resources go, we do have a full learning center on campus that is peer tutoring. So any course you take at the Mount, you can get help for in the learning center. And the students that tutor in there have to have taken the course that they're offering help for. So when you sit down with someone, you know that they know what they're talking about. And because we're small, they've probably taken it with the same professor and everything. So they know your course experience right down to the syllabus. And can really be helpful. The flip side of that is that it's a great on-campus job opportunity. So if you do really well in any of your courses and you're looking for a way to earn some extra money while you're going to school, you can actually work in the Learning Center as a peer tutor and help some of your peers and save up a little money. And then last but not least, we do have an additional support program called Project Excel for any of our students who are coming to us with 504 or IEP plans from high school. If you're not sure what a 504 or IEP plan is, then Project Excel probably isn't something that you would need to utilize. But if you do recognize those terms, definitely something that you would want to look into. Mount St. Joseph University, when it comes to supporting students with learning differences, is listed as one of the top 30 programs. So we have a 93% success rate with our students in the Project Excel program, achieving their degree and graduating from the Mount. So overall, really successful. Project Excel gives students access to professional tutoring, one-on-one advising to make sure that you're developing time management skills and transitioning to college appropriately, and also any other academic supports that you might have been accustomed to with your 504 IEP. They will try to accommodate for you as well. Amanda, is there anything that you would add about academics that I didn't cover?
I use the Learning Center a lot. It's a good way to prove to your professor that you're like taking the extra step to get help, to really have your work advised and edited. So not only do you get to use them as a wonderful resource, but they actually contact your professor and let them know that you are using them. And that looks really good to your teacher. Sometimes it's offered as extra credit. So it's a great resource. I utilize it quite often. So yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, that's great input. And the biggest piece of advice I give to incoming freshmen is just don't be afraid to utilize the resources that are available to you. Mm-hmm. Ultimately, we offer these resources to you and other schools offer these resources to you because we want to make sure that you're successful, and it's cool to go to the Learning Center. So do it. Now, we just talked a lot about academic resources that we offer to students, but we also think it's really important that students are getting hands-on experience in their field. So we do have an office on campus that's totally dedicated to this, and that's our Career and Experiential Education Center. All of our students are eligible to co-op or internship at some point in time while they're with us, so we don't limit that to any specific major. And we do require that all of our students do at least one co-op. So you will do at least one, but technically you can do as many as you want, starting as early as, I believe it's second semester of your freshman year. So some students will do as many as like 7 or 8. So the sky's really the limit, and they work with you to find you co-ops and internships that make sense for your career goals. One of the greatest advantages of being located in Cincinnati is that we're in a major metropolitan area. So there's just hundreds of businesses that we get the opportunity to partner with and to allow our students to work with. So when I say they work with you to find something that fits your interests, I mean, they really do, because they have so many resources to offer to our students. And I know that Amanda has taken advantage of the co-op opportunities at least a couple of times. Last semester, Amanda was a co-op in the Office of Admission, and you do have a co-op this semester, right?
I do, yeah.
Where are you co-oping this semester?
So after I co-opted with the Office of Admission, I interned with Paul Cristo Rey, which is a high school locally in Cincinnati. And then now I work downtown at Job and Family Services as their marketing and comm intern. So
Cool. So as you can tell just by that, Amanda's had like quite a wide array of experiences just throughout her undergrad career. And that's an awesome way to build your resume so that when you do apply for your first full-time job, you already have some experience to fall back on. Outside of co-ops and internships, the Career Center also offers services like helping you write a resume or figuring out what do you put in a cover letter. They can do mock interviews with you. So if you've got an interview coming up and you want to practice, they'll help you out with that. And then they also have a more structured way that you can make sure you're covering those bases through the Talent Opportunity Program. You might hear it referred to as TOP if you continue to explore them out, but TOP is a 4-year program, and it will cover all those things like resume building, networking, writing the cover letter, all that stuff. And students who complete the Talent Opportunity Program, if you graduate from the Mount and for whatever reason within your first 6 months, you haven't found your first job or moved on to grad school, they'll actually hire a professional career counselor to work with you one-on-one until you find that first position, and to help you figure out where you might be going wrong with that. So I always tell students that participating in the Talent Opportunity Program is a great safety net for you. It's free for students to participate, so I definitely encourage it. But the good news is that 99.6% of our students outside of the Talent Opportunity Program, so our whole student body, 99.6% are in jobs within 6 months or in graduate school. And when we say in jobs, we mean like in jobs related to their degree. So not just like bagging groceries or making coffee at their local Starbucks. So all in all, our career placement rate is really successful. And then additionally, if you're someone that really enjoys community service, we do have a lot of service learning opportunities that you can do both on your own time as well as part of a class. So as a Catholic university, I think that one of the biggest ways that really shows is in our community's dedication to supporting our community and outreach and whatnot. I know, Amanda, you've been involved in a lot of service-based projects at the Mount, so can you kind of speak more to that?
yeah, so one of the service learnings I did was through campus ministry. It was a mission trip, so I actually did 2 of them, and then which was to Appalachia. So that actually counts as like a core credit. So every student has to take a religious course, and that counts as one is going on a 7-week, not 7-week, a week-long trip to the Appalachian, Kentucky. And that counted as a service learning and a study abroad credit. So you actually got 2 credits in one. And it was really neat. We got to repair homes, sort of like Habitat for Humanity work. So it was a neat experience. It was definitely life-changing. So yeah, that's kind of where I got my credits from.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then, like I mentioned, there are ways to do service learning on your own time. So if you're someone who already loves to do community service and partners with a lot of organizations in your free time, you can continue to do so. And for every 30 hours of community service that you complete on your own, we'll actually give you a college credit up to 3 credits. So you can get a full course worth of credits, just like Amanda did through her actual service learning course, by volunteering on your own as well. So you get to kind of decide how and if you want to engage with that aspect as well. Now we do have residence life. So you might have heard small university and wondered what that would be like at a school with only 1,500 students. But we do have a residence hall on campus that houses about 500 students, which is, about a third of our student body. And we do have several different room options for students to choose from. So here you can see some pretty basic floor plans that show you what our room setups look like. But the most popular option for sure is our center suite. So that's kind of like apartment style living, but without a kitchen. So it's got 2 separate bedrooms, a living room, and its own bathroom, which is a huge perk in a college dorm. And those are for 2 or 3 students. And then we also offer traditional doubles, which if you've ever seen a college dorm room, like on TV or in a movie or been on another visit, that's pretty much what you can expect out of the traditional double. 2 beds, 2 dressers, 2 bookcases, all just living together in one room. And those share a bathroom with their floor. And then I don't have a floor plan pictured, but we do also have single rooms. So for people that would prefer not to have a roommate or need specific accommodations, we can accommodate that with the single rooms as well. Students do also have a few other choices when it comes to living on campus, aside from just their room style. So we have one floor that's all male and one floor that's all female. And then the rest of our floors are co-ed. So you can choose if you have a preference between those two setups. And then we also have a couple of living learning communities. So one is for our students that are in the School of Behavioral and Natural Sciences. So if you want your neighbors to be studying similar things to you, have some built-in study buddies and that sort of thing, you can elect to live in the Behavioral and Natural Sciences living learning community. We also have a living learning community called Lions on a Mission, which is for students participating in campus ministry or service at the Mount and want to surround themselves with peers who are pursuing the same things. And I believe that we're just now adding what we're calling the Artist Colony. So for students pursuing fine arts, music, theater, that sort of thing, you can choose to live with or around students that are pursuing those same interests. Amanda, would you add anything about living on campus? I know that you commute, but I know that you also spend a lot of time on campus.
Yeah, so there's also free laundry on living in the residence halls. So we provide the washer and dryer, and you just got to bring your detergent. Also, like, because I was a commuter and I traveled a sort of a long distance, I would sometimes, stay the night with a friend, and that is possible. So if you have a friend that comes, you can just check them in at the front desk and they can stay with you. So that is also another option if you want to have visitors. But other than that, Kristen covered it.
Cool. Well, and then we do also have plenty of students that commute, just like Amanda. So there's a lot of other ways to get involved on campus aside from just living there. So we do have band, choir, and theater as extracurriculars, and those are actually available to students of any major. So sometimes at a university, those will be just reserved for music or theater majors, but at the Mount, you can be a biology major who plays the saxophone and join the band, and that's really common. So if you enjoy those things now and want to continue to do that for fun in college, you can definitely do that at the Mount. And students that participate in band, choir, or theater are actually eligible for a $1,000 scholarship just for doing it. So the cherry on top is that you get some money for doing it if you already like to do it and were planning to do it. We do also have campus ministry, like Amanda mentioned. So we are a Catholic university. You don't have to be Catholic to attend the Mount, and you're in no way obligated to participate in campus ministry. But we do have a really vibrant campus ministry program for students to get involved with if they want to. So we do offer Mass on Sunday nights and on Tuesday and Thursday afternoons that anyone is welcome to attend. And then we also have other ways that students get involved with campus ministry, like weekly small groups and Bible studies. We have a chapter for the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. As Amanda mentioned, we do service projects or mission trips. And then for students that are really wanting to dive into campus ministry, we have a scholarship program called the Mission Ambassador Award. And each year they invite 10 students to join their cohort. And this is more of I would kind of describe it as almost like a discipleship-based program. Like students are really diving in together to not only better campus ministry, but to deepen their faith and their understanding. So if that sounds like something that would interest you, definitely check out the Mission Ambassador Award. But I know Amanda participates quite a bit in campus ministry. So is there anything that you would add?
One of our biggest trips in campus ministry is our NOLA trip. So you actually get an opportunity. You can only go once out of your 4 years down to New Orleans, and you build homes for people who lost their homes in Hurricane Katrina. So you're just rebuilding those from ground up. So it's a neat opportunity. You get to live with the sisters, and they're a lot of fun. They're down for a board game or two. But it's a beautiful place. And you get to explore and kind of see what New Orleans is like. But that's one of our big mission trips. So I would take advantage of that.
Awesome. We do also host a lot of campus events all throughout the year. So everything from huge events like homecoming and spring fling to smaller events like monthly bingo. Well, I guess bingo is not a small event. Everybody turns out for bingo. Or like heading to a Reds game or that sort of thing. So campus events are a good sort of non-committal way to get involved on campus and meet other people. For those of you that are athletically inclined or just like to have fun, we have intramural sports that run year round. So those are just like fun, social, on-campus rec leagues. They play everything from flag football, basketball, soccer, to cornhole, badminton, sand volleyball. And those are a lot of fun, a good way to get involved as well. And then if none of that sounded exciting, there's still over 50 student organizations that you can get involved with. And so in my opinion, there's a club out there for everybody. But that's everything from Student Government Association, Campus Activities Board, Black Student Union, to Photography Club, Commuter Council, which Amanda's a part of, Math Club, and a variety of others in between. So definitely lots of opportunities. It's also really easy to start a club. So if you look at that list of 50 and you don't see anything that interests you, you can actually start your own club. All you need is like 4 students who have the same interest and a faculty sponsor, which is a lot easier to come by than it sounds. And you're good to go. You've got a club. So definitely lots of ways to get connected on campus. Amanda, is there any advice you would give or things that you would highlight as far as campus activities or ways to get connected?
I would just say like find something you're interested in. Like she said, there's 50 plus organizations, so there's a lot to choose from. And if you don't find something, I've heard about people wanting to start a Netflix and pizza club. So if that's something you're interested in, like start that. But definitely find something because it's a good way to build leadership skills. And kind of reach out into our community. As Kristen said, I'm part of Commuter Council, and I've had a lot of chances to reach out to like the Reds and the FC, as that's some of our events that we do in the Cincinnati area. So it's a good way to network on top of building leadership skills.
Awesome. Thanks for that. I would definitely agree with that. If I can change the slide. We are also NCAA Division III for athletics, and we have 24 sports between men's and women's. And actually about 50% of our student body are student athletes. So that's a huge part of our campus identity. We have all the traditional sports you can probably think of, but something that we added last year that we're really excited about is esports, or competitive video gaming, if you're not familiar. So our esports team had their debut last year. I believe they finished 3rd in their conference, which for a first year doesn't get much better than that, but they do actually compete against other schools and practice and the whole 9 yards. Right now they compete in Fortnite, Rocket League, and League of Legends. So if you or your friends play any of those games and would like to do so competitively, just know that you can actually do that at the Mount, which is pretty neat. Aside from that, if you're interested in an athletic, I would definitely encourage you to reach out. We would love to get you connected with the coaches so that you can learn more about what their teams are like and what they're looking for in an athlete and what it means to be a Division III athlete. So definitely consider that as well. We are currently in the process of building a brand new building on campus, our Centennial Fieldhouse. So this is going to be a really exciting addition that is supposed to be open next month, actually. So it'll have a full-size indoor track, as you can see from that image up in the top left, the nice turf space in the center. It'll have some multi-purpose rooms that we can use for group fitness classes, or individuals can use for their own personal workouts or stretching. And it'll also have new locker rooms. And it's going to be directly next to our current basketball, like our gym. So they'll be right next to each other and easily accessible from one another. So definitely going to be an awesome addition. It'll be the only full-size indoor track in the Cincinnati area. So great for us and great for the community. Now, you might be familiar with Cincinnati. We're just a quick drive from most places in Indiana, so maybe you've been. But if you haven't, we have a fun little city with lots of things to do. Our campus is located only about 10 to 12 minutes from downtown Cincinnati. So really easy to get to the Red Stadium, the Bengal Stadium, some great restaurants and shopping, the nice park along the river. But our campus is located in a more residential area. We have a nice green space with our quad and some nature trails nearby. So students kind of get the best of both worlds as far as our location goes. And Amanda, is there anything that you'd like to add? What are some of your favorite things to do in Cincinnati?
I love it all. So, especially if you're not from Cincinnati, this is great. So my club does FC Cincinnati, Cyclones, Red, Cincinnati Zoo, and all that fun stuff downtown. And tickets are usually $5. Like you can't beat that for a game to go to in Cincinnati, especially. But during your freshman orientation, you'll have an opportunity to go downtown and explore, see Fountain Square, kind of go on a scavenger hunt. That is, I think, what they send you on. So you kind of get to see what Cincinnati is like. So a lot of those places are places you'll probably get to visit as a student at the Mount.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely echo how awesome the $5 tickets are. Just, absolutely. I don't know how you guys do it, but take advantage of it for sure. Now, the less exciting but equally as important stuff is our application process. So we actually have our own application right out on our website, and it's pretty short. It takes most students only about 20 to 30 minutes to fill out. If you're currently a junior, still keep your ears peeled because this process really doesn't change too much year to year. So you can expect this to be more or less the same when you're beginning your process next year. But our application is pretty much always free until December 1st. So getting it in early is better, but we are rolling admissions, which means that we don't have a formal deadline. You have to have sent your application in by. And we also don't have like one date that we give decisions on. So once we've received all your application materials, you'll usually hear back to us within about 2 to 3 weeks. Things that we consider, we will look at your transcript, not just for your GPA, but we also want to take a look at like what kind of classes did you actually take in high school? You know, to prepare yourself for a college level curriculum. We'll also take a look at any extracurriculars that you've been involved with and any evidence of leadership within that. And then this year and next year, we're going to be test optional. So the ACT or the SAT will be optional. Obviously, with the pandemic, testing has been much more difficult, and that's certainly not your fault. So we don't want to penalize you for that. So if you have test scores that you're proud of and that you feel are representative of you as a student, feel free to send those in with your application. We would love to consider those. But if you either haven't had a chance to test yet, or you don't really feel that your scores show your capability as a student, do not feel pressured to send those. It truly won't impact your scholarship or admission process. And we really want you to kind of think about that and just make the choice that's right for you in that. One thing I will note, if you're planning to send test scores and you have more than one score, I would strongly recommend that you send them all. We do super score for admission purposes, meaning that we'll combine all of your test scores to give you your highest possible composite score. So if you plan to submit test scores, that's a good idea. Although we don't require essays or letters of recommendation, if you think you'll be applying test optional, those are good things to consider submitting, especially if you already have them written for other applications or that sort of thing. Now, as far as our tuition and costs go, our tuition is about $31,100 per year. And for students who choose to live on campus, a good estimate is about an additional $10,000 per year. That does vary a little bit because our different room types have slightly different costs. And also you have a few different meal plans that you get to choose from, which have slightly different costs. But the 31,000 plus the 10,000 is a pretty solid estimate. Now, another note with that, once you've applied, if you plan on filling out the FAFSA or the free application for federal aid, definitely get that in as soon as you can once you've applied, because that'll allow us to get you your financial aid package back sooner so that you can be working with all of your numbers rather than just estimates so that you can make a more informed decision. But if you just heard all those numbers and thought, holy Toledo, that was a lot, I don't know about that. The good news is that none of our students pay that full amount. So every single student that's admitted to Mount St. Joseph University is guaranteed to receive an academic merit scholarship. So that's a minimum of $11,000 per year, but it actually goes all the way up to $21,000. And because we'll be test optional, we're going to base this on either your GPA or your test scores. So in the event that you apply test optional, obviously we'll only have your GPA to look at, so we'll determine your scholarship based on that. If you do send us test scores, we'll compare both your GPA and your test score, and we'll go by whatever is higher. So in that case, if you've submitted test scores, but your GPA qualifies you for a higher merit scholarship, we'll still go by your GPA. The other great news with this is, let's say you do apply early, you're on top of your process, so you apply in September of your senior year. We recognize that there's a lot of time between September and May or June, and throughout those months, you may get a chance to test again, and your test score might go up, or perhaps your GPA will increase once your senior grades go in. And if either of those things happen and it would qualify you for a higher amount of scholarship money, we'll actually repackage your financial aid to reflect that. So don't let those things hold you back from applying early, because we can always bump up your scholarship. The good news is that you'll also never lose any scholarship money. So this won't happen to any of you, but if you get a little senioritis and maybe your GPA slips a little or anything like that, you'll never lose scholarship money. So whatever you qualify for at the time that you are admitted, you keep. And if you manage to bump yourself up, that's awesome. This scholarship is renewable all 4 years that you're at the Mount. As long as you maintain a 3.0 GPA, this is money you can count on every single year. Now, aside from that, that scholarship's automatic. You don't have to do anything but be admitted to receive it. We do have some other scholarship opportunities that students can apply to separately. So most of these are based on things such as your major or extracurriculars you're participating in. You know, like I mentioned before, band, choir, and theater can get you a $1,000 scholarship. The Mission Ambassador Program is a $2,000 scholarship. But we do have a wide variety of additional scholarships. So I would recommend heading to our website. You can check all of them out as well as their individual criteria on the financial aid tab, which is just msj.edu/financial aid. And then we do recommend some other scholarship resources. So definitely check out myscholarly.com, fastweb.com, and check with your high school guidance office. MyScholarly and FastWeb are like scholarship search engines. So they're going to have all kinds of national scholarships, things from all over the country. And then your guidance office will probably have knowledge of local businesses or organizations that are offering money to students. So definitely some other places to check out if you're looking for additional scholarship money. Now, we only have about 5 minutes left, and I don't really have too much more to cover. We would love to encourage you to follow us on social media if you don't already. That's just a good way to keep on top of reminders and get to know us a little better. So you can definitely feel free to do that. And if you're able to, we would love to have you come visit our campus. We're open for in-person visits at this point, both individual and small group visits. So if you are interested in visiting, I would encourage you to head out to our website, msj.edu/visit, and you can go ahead and schedule right online. We would love to have you. Now, I'm going to leave these last 5 minutes open just for questions for either me or Amanda. And also this slide here has my contact info on it. So if you want to take that down and think of any questions after tonight, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Like I said, I am your admission counselor, and I'm here to help you every step of the way. So if you have any questions, go ahead and fire away. I did see that there was some interest in football, so we'll definitely make sure that we get that information to you. But any other questions for us at this point in time? Or Amanda, do you have anything to add that I didn't cover in our presentation?
No, you did a great job, Kristen. We appreciate you, Jacob, joining us tonight. Definitely come out and take a visit at our campus. It definitely does you more justice to see our university as a whole. And you might get me as your tour guide. So
Great, because one of Amanda's, her on-campus job is to be a campus ambassador and just spread the good news about the Mount.
yeah.
So while we're waiting to see if we have any questions, Amanda, I'm going to ask you 2 questions.
Okay.
One, what is your favorite thing about the Mount? Like, why did you choose it? And 2, what is one piece of advice that you would give to a high school senior who's going through their college search process right now?
Yeah, absolutely. So I chose the Mount because of the scholarship opportunity. Definitely a plus. But also because when I visited campus, I felt everyone was very intrigued and wanted to know more about me. Not just me as a student, but me as an individual, a person. So everyone was on top of getting all my information. I had admission counselors emailing me, asking me if I needed help, which showed to me that they actually cared, that they actually cared about getting all my information and taking care of anything I needed help with. So that was impressive to me. As well as the professors that I got to meet were really nice. Even when I came in as a freshman, they recognized me from when I took my tour. So they ask you, how are you doing? How are things at home? how was your football game? How was your soccer game? So they really like to get to know you outside of the classroom. So that was very, very exciting to me. I also really enjoyed the one-on-one attention. So I received, like being called, your name versus like being called out, like I'm number 42, are you here? So you're a name and not a number here at the Mount. And then one piece of advice that I would give is to come into the Mount and keep an open mind. There's a lot to learn, and don't feel like you have to know it all. So coming into college, like if you, decide on a major and you're like, this really isn't for me, you can change your major. I changed my major after freshman year and they guided me through the whole process. I thought it was going to be super complicated, but my advisor, all I had to do was sign here and she took care of all of it. So really decide on what you want to do and don't be afraid to change. Pick something you're really passionate about because it's going to be the rest of your life. So do something you're interested in and keep an open mind is what I recommend. So.
Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome advice. Now, I did just get 2 questions, so I'm going to do my best to answer those in our last 2 minutes.
Okay.
The first question was, is there a quarantine in place right now for students traveling from Indiana to visit schools out of state? So to answer that question, I can only speak to the Mount's policies and procedures. So if you're thinking about visiting other schools, definitely check with them to see what they're doing at this point in time. But for the Mount, you're welcome to come visit us so long as you are not supposed to be quarantining. Like so long as you haven't been recently exposed to someone with COVID or you yourself haven't been diagnosed with COVID. And we do have some check-in forms that we have our guests fill out to confirm that those things are true. So basically, you're welcome to come so long as you're following CDC guidelines and staying home when you should stay home and that sort of thing. And we are following those guidelines on campus to make sure that our faculty, staff, and students stay safe as well. And then the second question, someone is interested in business management and film production. Does MSJ have a degree, major or minor in film? So Amanda, this question feels really geared towards you. We've got about a minute, so if you want to answer it really quick, what would you say to a student who's interested in film?
So you can actually minor, this sounds a little odd, in communications and new media studies. I'm not just shouting out my major, but it actually gives you hands-on activity with film production. So I actually took a year and a half of classes on film production, and you get to learn everything about Adobe, creating videos, how to shoot, B-roll, anything you can think of in creating a video. So you get to do a lot of different stuff with that. It's super cool. And that is something you could minor in with business management. So
Yeah, awesome. Well, I want to be respectful of time and make sure that we end on time. So like I said, my contact info is right there on the slide. So definitely take that down and please don't hesitate to reach out if you still have more questions.
Before we do end, I do have a couple quick little announcements. At the end of this, when you exit, there will be a quick survey, 4 questions. We would love your feedback, so please submit that. And then if you thoroughly enjoyed the session and want to learn more, we do have additional options for you tomorrow. It is our last day of the program, but we do have more sessions. I just pulled up my screen really quickly. It is located if you want to see what's left for tomorrow, what schools will be presenting. If you go to the inacac.org/virtual-college-exploration, you go to that website, you'll be able to see what's available tomorrow. But also, all of our sessions for this entire program, this 3-week program, have been recorded. So if you happen to miss something tonight, or you know a friend who is very much interested in Mount St. Joseph University's presentation or any others, definitely go to that same website and view any recordings you're interested in. Thank you all so much for participating in tonight's presentation. Thank you, ladies, for presenting on Mount St. Joseph. We really appreciate it. Everyone have a wonderful evening.
thank you. Take care.
Thank you so much. Bye.